Alright, so next phase. I'm assuming that I can rebuild this rear end. Need new bearings, probably new seals. I'm going to take it to Sandblaster here local. I've got the brake shrouds and the 4-link and the bar that connects to side. So that's gonna get sandblasted today. Hopefully I'll pick it up tomorrow or next week. But I'll catch you up on how I had to get all that out of there. It was obviously being 70 years old, everything was seized. So drained all the fluid out, cracked the seals on everything, pulled the half shafts. The bearings actually don't look bad. It's possible they've been done, but the seals didn't look great. And then had to pop all the bushing sleeves out, had to cut them, drill out the rubber O-ring with the drill bit there, then popped them out with the chisel and hammer. And then I had to use a metal blade to cut these sleeves and then bang them out with a chisel. Gouged some of the internal surfaces, so we'll have to see if I'm gonna, I mean, they all have sleeves on them. Maybe the ones that don't have sleeves, I'll put a bead of weld on and smooth out. Now this one here was the worst one. I tried to get it out with an impact wrench and this extension that I picked up that handles impact power. It's from Tight Reach. It's the only one of these I could find that handled more than 50 pound-feet. It says it's good up to 600 Newton meters or something. Anyway, it held up with full force, but it did not crack that nut. So there's a captured nut in there that holds that one 4-link. So I'm gonna have to try the weld-on nut trick or drilling it out, or I don't know. It's really tight and awkward. Worst case scenario, I may have to cut that out and weld in a new captured nut, which is really not something I want to try to do, but because I'd probably have to cut a window in the bottom here and then or just cut around there and then put a new one in. Anyway, I'm hoping, trying to weld something on there, I can get that pop loose, but we'll see, because I've done a whole lot of crap to it and it is not going loose. I'm thinking it was partially because it was seized on the sleeve, but anyway, that's where I'm at. So I'm gonna go drop this stuff off at the sandblaster, and then I'm going to back and try to get the remaining bit of that nut out. So I'll have to weld a nut onto the end of it, and hopefully the heat from welding will get it popped out. But yeah, that's kind of a catch up. Once I get this sandblasted, I'll just rattle can it with some flat rust inhibitor Krylon and get some new seals. I'm still on the fence on the bearings because they literally look brand new. Like there's anyway, seals at least, but the bearings look really good. The yoke, I was going to pull the yoke and do the yoke seal, but the yoke seal is still intact and hasn't shown signs of any leaking. So I think I'm going to leave it alone because that's what the internet says. Transmission, something we'll have to tackle as well. I want to tear this all apart and make sure everything's good. Rebuild it with new solenoid for the overdrive and anything else that it needs. And then go from there. But anyway, picking away, progress being made. I'll maybe film a bit more if I start working on that, getting that seized bolt out of that 4-link attachment. Okay. So luckily that worked. First try even, which I was a little concerned about because I was certain I was gonna have to get a little more crazy with it. But As you can see there, put that nut out, or the bolt, I guess. There it is. So yeah, same technique. I just gobbed in a bunch of weld, threw a washer on it first, kind of attached the washer to the head of that bolt with the welder, highest heat possible, then threw on a big nut and just threw a bunch of weld into it, and then doused it with some Croil penetrant. Had a bit of a flame shoot up, but yeah, got it all cleaned out. So luckily I don't have to worry about that anymore. I was not looking forward to cutting that out and getting a new nut and restructuring all of that, so that's good. Next, I got the stuff dropped off for sandblasting. They said that could be done within the couple hours or so. So I guess we'll see about that. And then I gotta look at the likelihood of welding up some of the stuff underneath here. So get this car jacked up higher so I can get under it easier, and then do the dreaded work of welding underneath. But yeah, I think next time I give you an update, I'm gonna show you the sandblast work. I dropped that off the Kiwi iron. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So continuation, I got stuff sandblasted and actually just throwing initial coats, some flat Krylon, rust inhibitor and all that jazz. This stuff is really pocked up. The 4-link here, I'm going to show you what's going on with this. So you can see here I got holes. So that had a lot of gunk and stuff in there, and like you can see how the metal is really porous. And I'd love to blame the sandblasting, but yeah, it was pretty rough. I'm gonna have to throw a bead, little weld in there and smooth that up. And yeah, kind of refurb these. I can buy these new, but what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually just plate this and this side with some new metal and weld it to the circle here, just to strengthen these up, and then of course fill any holes that are in there, just to keep them from collecting junk and getting worse. And then I'll get these painted up as well. There's the other bars. This one was the worst one. It had a hole in it. These other ones are certainly textured, shall we say. So they should take the paint really well. I can get new ones of these. Oh, this one has a hole too. I can get new ones of these, but honestly, I want to try to keep the cost down. I literally bought some parts, brake lines and stuff like that, and everything to put kind of the brakes back together again, and stuff kind of piles up. There's the axle. Kind of got a rough coat on there initially, but yeah, they got it cleaned up nice. So we'll get that painted up, throw a few coats on it at least. While this is drying, I'll get those other things welded up and then get those painted as well. But yeah, I'm just doing flat black on this. I know it's kind of a mismatch because I got gloss in the front, but I don't know. I think I might, if I have some gloss, maybe I could do the bars in gloss, but I think I'm just gonna stick with black. But yeah, that's the deal. Like I said, those bearings are pretty good in the half shafts. I ordered some new ones, but we'll see if I replace them or not. The seals definitely. The other thing that I started taking apart, I got a steering box rebuild kit. So I was taking this apart. There's some brass bushings and stuff in here. It's a little notchy, but it didn't have any fluid in it, and I'm pretty certain it's supposed to. Like there's a filling spot right here that little square thing. You can take that off and fill it with fluid. So anyway, I got a steering box rebuild kit, and I was looking at rebuilding this as well. This is the the brake proportioning valve. So, because the front's discs and the rear's drums. So this goes on here like that, and I got a sheet to rebuild it, and I got a rebuild kit. So I'll see what comes with the rebuild kit, but this center piston should be movable, and for the life of me I can't get that thing to move. There's no spring on that. There's no spring on this piston at all. So I thought, oh well, I'll just take this part off, and I thought, oh, there's a brass bushing in here. I'll just take that out. It looked like from the diagram that it was threaded. So I thought, oh, I'll just take that out. See the brass, there's a brass bolt in there. And then this is a little spring actuated valve as well. So the fluid, the main line of fluid goes in here, and then as you put pressure on it, it pushes that thing in, and then it gets fluid into the rear brakes that come out of here, and then this is pushed against with a spring, and that keeps this from allowing too much force, I guess, into the back brakes, like so you don't lock up the back brakes versus the front. Anyway, these are a nightmare to get. I looked at possibly getting a new one, because as you can see, after sandblasting it, like it is super, super corroded. Like this thing sits under the bottom of the car, and had like these Allen keys and stuff. It was kind of ridiculous to get out of it. I had to use one of the extractor set things, but like even the nut is like obviously been corroded and not really stock size anymore. So I'm considering, depending on what the rebuild kit comes with this the brake proportioning valve, I'm considering just getting like a universal single circuit proportioning valve from like Summit Racing or something with an adjustable knob, and I can just dial it in manually. I think that might be my most reliable situation, because if I just put this back together without being able to get that piston out, because I tried loosening off this brass nut and it just spun, it didn't unscrew. So I don't know if me trying to turn it essentially broke it as well or what, but it's not super sweet. Anyway, so I got a rebuild kit for that. We'll see what comes with it, but I'm pretty sure it's just like maybe an O-ring for that and a gasket, and I suppose I could stick it back in there, but I'm not super confident that it's going to reliably work as intended. Like this bracket, look at this bracket was totally eaten away too from the rust. Oh, the joys of a Eastern Canada car. Anyway, I'm gonna continue to, like I said, beef up those 4-link bars. And maybe I'll give you another video of that after I get them beefed up. I'm going to do that right now while that paint flashes. I'll probably go do another coat and then beef up those sections with some 16 gauge sheet metal and weld that up and go from there. Anyway, yeah, I'll catch up with you in a bit. All right, well, back at I got these welded up, patched the holes, threw that on there, and then I welded up the grooves that I put in when I was removing the bushing sleeves with the Sawzall. I got those polished up. But yeah, anyway, that adds a little bit of weight, but certainly is going to make them a lot more strong. Anyway, I'll get these painted up. Those are the bottom ones, they just need a little welding. That one's good. The rear axle's got 3 coats on it, as well as the brake backing plates. So I'll get these painted up, and then I'm gonna jack up the car and do some stitch welding underneath on the previous metalwork that was done by the other guy. I'm not sure how good it was, so I'm just gonna try to stitch weld some stuff and just make sure the metal that he used, basically he just went around the old frame rails instead of removing and putting it back in new. So I'm gonna stitch weld the new to the old and the floor. It's gonna look like a total mess, but it'll make it stronger, and I'll be confident that that new metal is properly connected to something. So that is the next step. Alrighty, well, I got these painted. So that's all painted up. Let that cure. Axle painted. Let that cure. Got the back plates cured, and then I jack this up and then I put them on my race ramp foamies. So now I should be able to get under here and get things stitch welded. But yeah, that's about it. So tomorrow, I guess I'll start working on stitch. Okay, final iteration on this. I think we're pretty much to the end of the welding and goober welding everything underneath here. So I got this crawler and was kind of going under and patching up metalwork and stuff that needed to be done. So I'm gonna hop on the crawler and I'm gonna give you a view of the underside of this thing and kind of show you what the previous person did and what I'm trying to do here. Oh, okay. So this is the rear end that we patched up. Graham helped me with this. Charlie did a little welding as well. But that's the gutter, the mud flap tabs, and spare wheel well. And then this bumper support welded in there. And then you can kind of see where I've had to basically repair this whole trunk floor. Strip there, strip up here, and then as we go over those 3 notches there, and then I used the tab there off of that because you can't get the bumper support for this side, and just use the tab on this end and then fabricated the rest of it out of 16 gauge steel and tied it into the existing rails. Got the mud flap tabs ready there. Let's see, continuing on back, you got this area. I mean, the spring pockets are a little dirty and rusty, but not holes in them, so I think we're gonna leave those alone. This was like a drain, like this little punch hole that they do to kind of drain liquid. Anyway, these were rusted out, so I patched those up. And yeah, what else? Let's keep going back. And then this thing had holes in it all over the place, so kind of put some patches in there, goober welded the holes, and then did some sheet metal through here and over here. Keep going. This was totally rotten, so I restructured that. I left these holes. I'm pretty sure that's for the drive shaft deal. Kind of did just some stitch welding through here. This side was already welded up good.
And then this is the steel frame rails that the previous guy had done. And he didn't bother removing the old ones. He just wrapped them, which is frustrating. Anyway, he wrapped them and stitch welded them. So when I was had the floors out, I stitch welded the flange steel inside of here. You can kind of see through here. We welded as much of it internally as possible. And yeah. Anyway, it's better attached than it has been in decades, I'm sure. And yeah, now that's pretty much the tour of the bottom. I think everything's pretty well ready to go. If I cared more, I would redo these frame rails, the unibody rails, and do it up properly, but I just, I don't know. I should have cared more, but I just really didn't. I was like, this is thick steel. Like, you can see they put, like, what is that? That's like 3/16. It's almost 1/4 inch steel on here. So they definitely beefed it up. And then I welded it into the end, the inner rockers, nice and solid. But these floors here, you can kind of see there's multiple layers. When they patched these floors, it was like the original steel was sandwiched in between the rusted out original, and then they had other stuff kind of on top and below. Like there's 3 layers of sheet metal to try to patch the floor. It was just ridiculous. Oh, look at that. I missed little spots there. Looks like I gotta do some more spot welding there. So I'll get those done, and then I think we should be set. Weld it up. Okay. So anyway, that's that should I'm gonna finish up those spot welds, and then I think that's gonna be about it for the welding stuff. I'm gonna maybe clean some stuff up, or maybe not. I don't really know or care, to be honest. I'm gonna get some paint on seam sealer and just gob it on under here, and then probably do like a rocker or a fender well sort of thicker rubber coat, something or other, all under the bottom of this. Cover the whole thing. So anyway, so that kind of finishes up the welding and body metal work anyway. And then I guess next step, I'm going to seam seal under here, possibly inside, but I want to get the underside here totally coated, and then I can get the rear axle put in after I replace the bearings and seals and all that. Get the rear axle back in with new springs, sway bar, and yeah, get a rolling chassis again, and then I can start doing sand strip paint on the outside. I just really want the bottom completely done at this point, and then go from there. I ordered brake lines and everything I think I need to do the brakes on the back, and I'm still trying to decide what to do with that rear proportioning valve, whether I get a new one, put it up front so I can adjust it or what. Anyway, I'll update you when I decide on that later. Alrighty.